So you've had these masks and layers put on you for a reason. They've all assisted you in some way. You'll soon find that they're releasing on their own accord. You don't even need to keep doing this work after a while. Like, your body is so intelligent. It will hold on to emotions and trauma that you don't even know that you have. That's where disease comes from. That's where illnesses come from. It's stored emotions that haven't been released. But when your body starts to realize, your nervous system starts to relax, and it realizes that this is a safe space to release these darker things that have been held down for so long, you'll find that you're constantly healing. You're constantly on your healing journey because things will be coming to the surface more and more often to be seen and to be released. And you become better at it. It's not that the work becomes easier, it's that you just become stronger. Reminder, you did not come here to play someone else's game, to box yourself in, or to let fear guide your choices. You came here to experience joy and abundance and to love the shit out of your life. The Trajectory podcast is here to remind you of a few important truths. 1, you are the creator of your reality. 2, anything that you can dream or imagine, you can create. 3, following passion is the quickest way to align you with your true path. 4, your reality is always a reflection of your current thoughts and beliefs, and those thoughts and beliefs can be changed at any time. You are amazing, and it's time to own who you really are. Tune in weekly to be reminded that you can create the life that you're dreaming of and to learn exactly how to do it. Get inspired by those who have been bold enough to follow their passions and have created their dream life because of it. If you're ready to stop playing small, stop holding yourself back, and start aligning with your trajectory, let's do it. Today, I really want to talk about the ugly truth about self-improvement, self-development, healing, all of these things. So often it can be portrayed as such a glamorous, whimsical, beautiful experience of healing. Let's all sit in a circle and chant, and we're all fantastically aligned with higher energies and higher destiny. And okay, I'm just going on a tangent now. But genuinely, healing is a fucking shit fight. It's literally the biggest, most important work you will ever do. But it's also the darkest work you will ever do. That's what healing is. It's diving deep into the darkness, head first, and going, I'm ready to see all of you. I'm ready to see all the sides of myself I've been avoiding, and I'm ready to face you head on. I'm not turning away until you dissolve, motherfucker. So let's just be really clear. Healing doesn't look pretty. It's for the courageous. That's why not everyone does it. It's why a lot of people will talk about healing and joke about it and go, yeah, that's just some lame old hippie stuff. And it's like, well, no, it's actually warrior action. It's actually extremely big work, and you've got to be very bold. But I find people are called to start their own healing journey at very different times in their life. So you might already be in the midst of your own healing journey. You might not have begun yet. You might be feeling like you're in the middle of it. And obviously we're going to be healing and learning more about ourselves throughout our entire life. So it's not like there's an end point where you're like, I'm done, I'm finished, yay, did it. Unless you're, a Buddha or a guru, or you become self-realized, which is a little bit extra work, a little bit more than what most are willing to go through. But anyway, that's a whole other topic. So really being okay with what your healing journey looks like is the key. Allowance is what we're going to talk about today. And accepting the fact that, it's a dark path. For a lot of it, it's called an initiation for a reason. An initiation is something that you go through that is so life-changing, that is, oftentimes very hard. It breaks you. It breaks the parts of you that you thought were solid and consistent. And you get broken down into a little version of yourself. You come out the other side of this initiation and you have been transformed into a completely different version of you that you couldn't possibly be without that hardship that you went through. So initiations are beautiful. It's just a matter of how we look at it, right? Everything is about what meaning you attach to it. So if you can see these challenges that come at you as, wow, extra initiations. I'm getting extra credits here. You know, this is going to be a bit of a tough one, but I know I'm going to come out the other side. I know this is for my highest good, and I know that I'm strong enough and bold enough to move towards it, not resist it. So we're going to talk about how resistance is actually a bit of a problem that we deal with when it comes to healing. But so let's think about, how do you actually heal these shadows, right? When we talk about shadows, these are the parts of you that you haven't looked at. These are things that maybe you've dealt with some trauma when you were a kid or young adult. We've all dealt with different varying degrees of trauma. We've all had things that have happened to us that have shut down different parts of us, that have made us think we're not worthy, we're not good enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not able to do the things we want, we don't deserve anything. And these are programs that as you get older, you start to witness, and then we need to unravel them. But to unravel those programs, you need to get to the core of it, the root of what it was that actually created that limiting belief in you that's been hindering the life that you want to actually live. And the way you do that is to sit with it, is to literally sit with the darker parts of you, allow them to show you where they've come from. And you can speak to your subconscious mind, you can speak to your spirit team, you can speak to your belief in a higher power, whatever it is that is outside of yourself that allows you to hand over the power and go, I'm ready, I'm open, I'm willing to see these parts of me that I've been avoiding. And when you ask, where has this limiting belief come from? Where has this pattern began? It could take you many different days in meditation, but it is very important that you start to sit with yourself for at least 5 minutes a day. Start getting comfortable being in communication with yourself. And for some people, that's so uncomfortable. That's like, what the fuck? I don't want to. As soon as I close my eyes and try to meditate, my head goes 1,000 miles a minute. I have so many thoughts and it stresses me out and it actually isn't relaxing. And that's okay. That's the start of your meditation journey. That's what it's always like for people when you start. But again, we come back to allowance, not expecting anything in particular. You might find that the first 6 times that you sit down to meditate, it's just literally mental chatter. But you're now witnessing that mental chatter. So you've taken a step out of being in the eye of the storm of that mental chatter. You've taken a step back and you're now witnessing the mental noise, right? So that's already a huge bit of progress that you've made. You've detached from the drama. And that's when you can start to heal yourself and you can start to witness those patterns coming up. So don't be judgmental of yourself or expect certain results from meditation. It's about self-inquiry and it's about going inward and learning more about yourself. And you're not going to learn it all in one day, in one sitting. So if you're just starting out, I'd say even 5-10 minutes a day, just centering and just getting in touch with the part of you that existed before you had a name. The part of you that isn't attached to identities and status and results and all of these other external validation things. The part of you that is pure, your true, authentic self. Just get in touch with it and just sit with that part of you. Because there's the ego side and then there's the true self. The personality self, which is ego-based, and then the true you. So there's 2 different parts that are having conversations at all times, but until you sit and settle those waters in meditation, you can't really understand or decipher who's speaking at what time and what you actually think and what you actually want and whether you're wanting it for the right reasons or whatever. So would definitely highly recommend starting to add a little bit of you time, self-inquiry, we'll call it. Doesn't have to be called meditation if that scares some people, into your days. So the thing is, when you start to do that, you are seeking the root cause of these patterns and programs that have been doing a little bit of damage, let's say, to the life that you actually want to live. They've been holding you back. They've been making you play small. They've been making you feel like you have to bend over backwards for everyone and people please and do all of these things that you actually don't have to do. You actually are an incredible human and you deserve to do what you love every day, and you are more than enough. You are more than enough, honestly. So really understanding in advance so that when you tap into these parts of you and you're looking at the root causes, it's like you're pulling these things out from the root, right? But when you do that, they have to come up to the surface to be seen a final time. It's like being understood. It's like the final test. It's like throughout your life, you've gone through these tests and trials, and now you're ready to really do the final exam. And this is when you're sitting with yourself and you're doing this healing work. But during this final exam, each one of these tests that you've gone through previously in your life is coming up to the surface to be witnessed for the last time, to ensure that you really have a hold of that lesson. It's like a final, hey, just making sure, did you really learn this one? And when you can allow it, again, not resisting, we'll get into resistance in a sec. When you can allow it to come up and be seen, that's when you can allow it to be released. And that's when you can be free of that particular pattern forever. That is what healing looks like. But when these things come to the surface, you'll find yourself experiencing them again as if they're happening now. You'll find that you feel like you're in the thick of it again. So you'll start saying things like, God, I thought I was doing the right thing by healing, but I seem to just be getting worse. The truth is, you're not getting worse. You're getting so much better. But you do have to go through these things again a final time before you can say goodbye to them for good. So be proud of yourself, especially if you're in the thick of it. If you feel like things just keep coming left, right, and center, you're in the middle of a beautiful initiation. And you will come out the other side and go, oh my God, I'm so grateful. I went through all of those things. I get it now. I get it. I get it. And it's such an empowering feeling. And then you can move forward. And you can start moving into the life that you want to live, because you can't actually step into your true path until you are aligned with your true self. And this right here is the work that you have to do to align yourself with who you really are at your core. Because who you are at your core is pure. It's love. It is literally just unity consciousness. It is love. It is compassion. And it's all of the ego self, personality self, layers and masks that have been put on top of you over your life that have made you feel like that's actually who you are. So the work that you're doing in this healing journey is you're taking off all of those masks one by one. You're revealing who you really are to yourself. And from that beautiful, strong, confident standpoint, that's when you can very easily step into your true path. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're enjoying this episode so far and getting a lot of value out of it. I'd love to ask you to take just a couple of seconds to rate and subscribe to this channel. Once you do that, take a screenshot, let me see that subscribe button hit and the rating, DM that to me on Instagram at Trujectory, one word, and I have a gift for you. I'm going to send you a link that's going to lead you to some digital artwork. These are pieces that are all original photography. I've gone out in nature and taken some beautiful shots. I've got some quotes over the top. I've got some affirmations. And these are pieces that you can blow up to any size that you wish and hang them around your home or your office. And they're going to keep you in a positive mental headspace at all times. Whenever you look at them, they're really calming, beautiful pieces. So thank you so much in advance for rating and subscribing. I really appreciate your support. It's going to help us get these messages out to a larger audience. And I want this space to be somewhere that you can come every single week to be supported, to be motivated, to be inspired, to be reminded that you can create the life that you choose. And all of the beautiful guests that I have on every week are examples of just that. So thank you in advance. I've got so much love for you. Stay true, and I'll see you soon. So all of this work you're doing is not for nothing. It's actually to allow you to step into the life that you are dreaming of. And this shit is no joke. It is very powerful stuff. So let's talk about allowance and resistance. So we've talked about how important allowance is. Obviously, it's just letting things flow. It's letting things happen in their own time. It's not putting deadlines on things. It's not putting expectations on things. When we talk about resistance, that's when, this is what we all do. So if you just try and remember this, if you resist your shadows, you are keeping them alive. Okay, so I tried to think about a bit of an analogy that would make sense. So hopefully this will resonate with you. Think about kids, right? So if you tell them that they can't enter this sacred garden, imagine you're walking past this beautiful sacred garden and it's got a beautiful gate on it and it's got all of these amazing flowers and unicorns and whatever the kid wants in there, right? You tell them that they can't enter this garden. Now, what happens? Well, they really want to go in, right? Now there's a part of them that's like, I want to go in. They start kicking and screaming. They get really restless and they won't stop until they get what they want because you've put a barrier in front of them. And they want to jump over it. They want to get in the garden. There's something coveted here. There's something mysterious. There's something that, I want to see. I want to see the secret of what this thing is. But imagine if you walked past the garden and you did allow them to go in. You didn't say anything. You just saw the garden and the kid went in, opened the gate. Gate wasn't locked. It was open. They just walked in. They explored the flowers. They had a little ride on the unicorn and they did all sorts of things. And then after they've had a bit of a explore, sooner or later, they get bored and they move on. It's exactly the same with your shadows, with the darker parts of you that you've been avoiding. If you're resisting them, they are bubbling up. You are fighting with them. So it's creating more energy. It's creating more distortion. And that distortion can be seen in your outer reality by extreme stress, anxiety, depression, being in fear all the time. But when you allow these things to come up, they come up to the surface. And like I said, they will be seen one more time, but they will be released. You're not fighting with them anymore. You're not trying to hide from yourself. You're saying to yourself, and you can actually say this to your subconscious mind, I am prepared for you to start releasing some of my childhood trauma, start sending to the surface the parts of me that are unhealed, the parts of me that I haven't been looking at for a long time. Feel free from this point on to start sending these things forward so that I can deal with them and release them. And so we do this resisting, right? We do it with all sorts of things. We do it with distractions, with overstimulation, constantly gaming, watching TV, constantly having to be on social media, constantly needing to be distracted. Distraction is the big thing that we're doing here. We resist and we distract with substances, with addictions, with being constantly not present, with buying everything, shopping addictions, with a mentality of I can't slow down, I have to keep moving. You're just making your shadows want to fuck with you even more. Like really. And so really becoming aware of this thing. Why is it that I can't slow down? Why is it that I won't sit with myself? What am I afraid of? If you weren't afraid, you would sit with yourself for hours every day. You could be very present in meditation. And it doesn't have to be sitting with your eyes closed. Meditation can be walking through nature and just deep inner inquiry, asking yourself questions. Why am I feeling this way? Where has this feeling come from? Why has this belief become so prominent lately? What am I going to do about it? Just inner inquiry. It doesn't have to look a certain way. Everyone's journey is very different. But when you sit with it and when you witness what it was that created them, you understand them. And you can understand how they've served you previously, and then let them be. Let them go. Because the reason you have these distortions is because at some point they served you. Maybe you had to act like a good little girl or a good little boy when you were younger. Maybe you had to stop talking about your fantastical ideas of becoming an artist or following the things that you love for a living because the environment that you were in didn't support that and it actually wasn't safe to talk about that. So you've had these masks and layers put on you for a reason. They've all assisted you in some way. So finding out what those reasons are and letting them go. You'll soon find that they're releasing on their own accord. You don't even need to keep doing this work after a while. Once your body knows that it's safe, like your body is so intelligent, it's actually mind-blowing. It will hold on to emotions and trauma that you don't even know that you have. That's where disease comes from. That's where illnesses come from. It's stored emotions that haven't been released. But when your body starts to realize, your nervous system starts to relax, and it realizes that this is a safe space to release these darker things that have been held down for so long, you'll find that you're constantly healing. You're constantly on your healing journey because things will be coming to the surface more and more often to be seen and to be released. And you become better at it. It's not that the work becomes easier. It's that you just become stronger and you can handle it. And you do handle it. You continue to handle it. You continue to be okay with seeing those parts of you that you had adopted as yourself and realizing that's not who I am. And I'm fine to let that go. And even at times you might find you go through phases where you go, well, who am I? What is left of me if this part is gone and this identity didn't matter and this validation didn't actually do anything for me and this status doesn't mean anything? Sometimes you sit with that for a little while, and that's such a beautiful part of understanding who you are. So there's no wrongs here, right? Embrace the contrast, the polarity. There's polarity in everything. There's night and day, left and right, up and down, wet and dry, hot and cold, yes and no. Embracing the fact that you have shadows as well as light. But if you try to dim out the shadows and only look at the light sides of yourself, it will never be balanced. You will never be balanced. You'll never be in a state of calm and peace because you're always tending towards one side rather than sitting in the middle and allowing the light to come through you and allowing the darkness to come through you. They rely on each other. They need each other. They're balanced. So beautiful. It's so beautiful when you can really embrace polarity and sit with the lower emotions when they come up. Some of the best, I would say most of the best artwork and creations have come from people when they're in places of pain. When the dark side comes up, the shadows come up to be revealed, the person is so overwhelmed and they don't know what to do with this extra energy that they have, with these huge feelings that are overrunning them. So they put those feelings into action. They create something with them. There's always beauty that comes from the breakdown, always. Your greatest challenges always become your greatest teachers. So understanding that in advance is a superpower. And even though, yes, you will still have hard days, that's part of it. You're not expecting every day to be sunshine and rainbows, but you know that when you do have those harder days, it's not forever. And you just take one step at a time. You understand that your body is releasing things, you're healing. This is ultimately really good and going to work in your favor tremendously. And you allow, okay? Allow. I'm going to write a song about allowance, I think, because it's so underestimated. And it took me such a long time to get my head around it. But yeah, just imagine like trying to fight with polarity, trying to fight, resist your shadows is literally like the vision I get in my head is like, it's like someone trying to punch on with the air, like trying to have a boxing match with air. It's never going to be a winning battle ever. And you're just going to get more and more exhausted. The more you fight the thing that can't be fought, you're just going to tire yourself out. So resisting is actually much more tiring than allowing and letting these things come up to be seen and released. So I hope that has helped. I hope that you feel better about your healing journey and there's no misillusions about the fact that it should be a beautiful sunshine and rainbows experience. It's a shit fight. And that's fantastic. That's a big part of you becoming the amazing human that you came here to be. This is what self-mastery is all about. Unraveling the things that we have picked up as kids unintentionally with our spongy subconscious minds being just so susceptible to everything. We didn't even realize what we were learning while we were learning it, right? So this is the part of being an adult. You figure out the things that you haven't been looking at and you start looking at them, start working with them. So anyway, let me know how you go. Leave a comment in the YouTube section, or there's so many social platforms I always get confused, or hit me up on Instagram at Trujectory or at Sarah Louise Maxwell, and let me know how you're going with your own healing journey and let me know what resonated with you from this episode. Love hearing from you guys. I'm really excited for you to do this amazing work. It ain't easy, but it's the best work that you will ever do in your life. So I'm proud of you in advance and I hope you are too. Stay true. Love you.